1 2 1 2 1 2. One, two, wrong headphones. One, two, okay, that's better. I've got the right headphones. I'm warming up. I'm warming up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Reflection Radio. My name's Reflection, streaming live from the Antelope Valley, Palmdale to be precise, in the beautiful depths of the Mojave Desert. I'll start the stream off today with my new single, which is Tarragon, available on all streaming platforms: Apple Music, iTunes, Pandora, Tidal, Spotify, not to mention YouTube as well. Let's jump into that. This is Tarragon. Herbs and Spices coming out, I think, next Friday. You're listening to Reflection Radio. This is progressive melodic lo-fi radio, every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Listening to Reflection Radio. You're listening to Reflection Radio. Pleasure to stream with you today and share my process with you. My name's Reflection. I'm a music producer based out of the Mojave Desert in lovely Palmdale, California. I think it did hit about 100 degrees today, but we keep it moving. Doesn't matter if we're getting sweaty or not. So grateful to have another day with you. So let's talk about something important today. And look, somebody has to say it. 90% of those massive 24/7 lo-fi chill streams that you're listening to are literally automated AI trash made by non-musicians who couldn't play a basic chord progression to save their life. Now calm down. Hear me out before you totally lose your mind. I'm not saying that generative tools or AI in production is inherently evil. Technology evolves, and there's a huge difference between using modern software as a creative tool and using it as a ghostwriter because you don't know how to write music. That's okay. What I'm calling out is this low-effort assembly line, which has been totally hijacking the genre. We've reached a point where people are literally running automated MIDI generators, dragging some stock 4-bar loop off of Splice, and just slapping on some generic vinyl crackle plugin on top of it, and then uploading like 50 tracks a week just to farm playlist algorithms. That's not art. That's not music. There's no emotion there. You're just trying to monetize background noise, and it's corny. But look, I get it. I do get it. I understand why it exists. You know, lo-fi built its empire on being study music and chill background vibes. And there's a time and place for passive listening. You might be grinding out code or studying for an exam at 2 a.m. or just working away with your headphones on. You don't always want some complex jazz fusion polyrhythm screaming at you. I respect the ambient music. You know, sometimes I love stopping at Circle K and just getting a bag of chips and a soda. I don't always want to have a gourmet meal. There's a place for all of these things. Everything has a season. But listen, when a music genre gets reduced to strictly functional background music, you basically strip away all of the humanity that goes along with it. Lo-fi used to be about raw emotion. A musician or a producer really letting their emotions bleed into the music, and also all of the things that made them who they were. Sample flipping, finger drumming, unique character, glitch sound effects, not being perfect. Now, this just sounds like generic stock elevator music, because nobody wants to take any risks anymore. Everyone's playing it super safe. And instead of having the guts to be a creator or a thought leader in the field, everyone's just trying to recreate the wheel. And that's not how the genre got here. That's why, as reflection, and as its reflection through this channel, I advocate for progressive, melodic productions within lo-fi. Real music needs room to breathe. Real music needs room to evolve. Real music needs room to move somewhere and to move the listener as well. If there's a track and the dynamics aren't shifting because it's super smashed with a limiter, and there isn't a big dynamic range or some interesting progressive melodic component, it's just a trance-like loop without any of the euphoria. Build a bridge. Tell a story over 3 minutes if you can. What we're getting fed is not dynamic music. It's just white noise with a few extra steps here and there, and some AI-generated animation of a girl in her bedroom studying. You can put on background beats all day. That's absolutely fine. But at the end of the day, you deserve music that actually rewards you when you turn off the screen and just listen. That's my hot take for that. So in the background, you're listening to Tarragon. You're listening to Reflection Radio. That was a hot take. Today's radio show is going to be full of hot takes, so I hope you're sitting down and that you're well balanced. This is my new single also. It came out Friday before last. This is Barberry from the Herbs and Spices project. Album's coming out next week. Let's pull that back. You're listening to Reflection Radio. What's up? Shout out to Sacred Geometry in the house. Reflection Radio. You're listening to Reflection Radio. Shout out to my good friend Sacred Geometry in the house. Love you very much, bro. Thank you for supporting the stream. Streaming every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Tonight I'm live on Instagram, live on YouTube, and also live on Twitch. And yeah, we stream live every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. So real privilege and very grateful to be able to share my process with everybody. Sometimes the intrusive thoughts get the better of me, and I just feel like, you know what, I don't want to stream today. And it's not a big effort to jump in front of the camera, but sometimes the negative thoughts, the PTSD, the stress, just sometimes is so overwhelming. But it's good to beat that, and I'm really working hard to try and tip the balance of all the kind of stress and all the struggles I've had, put good stuff on the other side so I can overcome the darkness. Speaking of darkness, I want to talk about something else. Let's be absolutely honest. Let's be completely honest, right? There's this audiophile culture. I don't know if you folks are familiar with it as well, which is basically just pure snake oil and placebo effect. If you're spending $3,000 on some high-end headphones, a balanced digital audio converter, and some ultra high res 192 kilohertz lossy versus lossy audio setup, just to listen to some MP3 that's probably been ripped and converted a million times, or something you ripped off YouTube, you're not an audio connoisseur. You're just getting scammed by gear manufacturers. Calm down. Hear me out before I get blocked or before anybody drops an essay in the comment section. What am I saying? I'm not saying that good gear doesn't matter. How sound translates is really real, and everybody's free to do what they want at the end of the day. This is America. If you can afford to do it and it makes you happy, go ahead. But getting just a solid pair of studio monitors that have a flat response, or some clean open back headphones, yeah, they'll absolutely give you better separation. You'll definitely have tighter low end and probably less ear fatigue than if you buy something from the dollar store or the gas station, right? Having good equipment definitely helps you to hear the details in a mix and those little details in music that you enjoy, period, point blank, period. But what I'm calling out is this pseudoscience that gets pushed on consumers, and it's really manipulative and it's really unfair. There's this absurd law of diminishing returns that's getting pushed on just everyday musical listeners. And there are lots of studies, and you can search online if you don't believe me, that show the human ear literally cannot distinguish between a clean 320 kilobits per second MP3 and a so-called lossless 24-bit 192 kilohertz FLAC file if you do like a double blind test, especially when people aren't musically trained or they're not mixing engineers. Now, hey, what's up, Mika? Thank you, Mika, for supporting the stream. Shout out to Mika. Everyone go follow Mika and go follow Sacred. Thank you for supporting the stream. Now, what about when it comes to lo-fi music and music online? The minute a music gets uploaded to YouTube or Spotify or Instagram, they process the audio, so you're never really listening to it as if it was coming through the actual final speakers or the actual CD quality or the vinyl quality. Especially with lo-fi as well. Lo-fi, the entire genre is entirely built on having what is lo-fi? Low fidelity, as opposed to hi-fi, high fidelity. The genre is built on saturating the tape, which means in the old days, music was made on a tape and it would get saturated. The magnetism of the tape would change and it would give certain harmonic characteristics to the music. The music is bit crushed. What does that mean? Instead of sampling the music at a high bit rate, you lower the bit rate to make it sound more lo-fi, so to speak, if you can. You add things like vinyl crackle, which reproduces back in the day, or even now actually, when people listen to music on a vinyl record, the grooves of the record got worn down physically, mechanically by the needle, and it would give this distorted, warped sound to the record, sometimes warbling around, which is very nice to the ear because your eardrums are getting, the hairs in your ear and the eardrums are getting stimulated constantly, and it has a nice retro feel to it. We use a lot of lo-fi filtering. What's lo-fi filtering? Literally, you're taking the equalizer and you're kind of taking out the high frequencies. So to have a hi-fi approach to lo-fi, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You're literally listening to music where producers like myself literally spent weeks, hours, lots of torment and pleasure in the studio to deliberately degrade the audio quality to make it sound vintage and cozy and noisy, just like we used to have before everything got super digital. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, if listeners obsess over having $1,000 cables to connect their speakers to the computer, having the latest and greatest DAC setup or digital audio converter or headphone amp, or having some kind of high-end lossless file, or paying extra money to a DSP for a higher quality audio, it's not going to make the music actually sound any better. It's not going to benefit you necessarily. It just means you're going to part with your money, and it's going to benefit the person who benefits from that transaction more. It's basically going to turn the listening of music into an elitist flex, and there's more to life than that. At the end of the day, a great melody, a dynamic chord progression, some emotional arrangement, that's going to hit you in the chest. That's going to give you that tingling feeling. Whether you're listening on a cell phone speaker from an Obama phone, whether you're listening on a pair of headphones from Five Below, or on a $1,000 audiophile setup. Even if you've got listening on a pair of beaten up AirPods on the bus, it's still going to sound good. So what I think people need to do, and what I recommend, is focus on the art and not so much on that frequency response graph that everybody's trying to sell you. You're listening to Reflection Radio. Up next, this is Parsley from my upcoming project Herbs and Spices, out everywhere next Friday. That was Parsley from. Oh, thank you very much. I have an applause button on my soundboard. I didn't mean to hit that. My hands are big. I triggered it. I'm not trying to self-aggrandize myself that much. So that was Parsley, one of the songs from the Herbs and Spices project, which is going to be coming out on next Friday. So it's going to be available on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Apple Music, Tidal, a bunch of places, Deezer, Pandora. So we've been talking about music on today's show and some hot takes, just to get people thinking a little bit. And, you know, genre labels is something that some people get really territorial about. Like, what genre of music are you listening to? What genre of music do you make? The music I make is progressive melodic lo-fi. That's the closest I've come to it, and it's been really interesting releasing my content on Spotify, and actually really humbling, but also pretty cool to see what the recommended artists have been. Mika, actually, you sent me some great artists on Instagram that I still haven't listened to. I've been trying to stay away from social media a little bit, just scheduling posts, and I'm blown away with the recommendations that Spotify made for some of the similar artists to my music, because I'm very I'm just in my own bubble, and I don't even think melodic lo-fi is the right label. The music I make might be more like trip hop. So I was kind of blown away when Spotify was recommending me artists like Amon Tobin and Aphex Twin and Kraftwerk and some other more experimental sounds. I was like, wow, I wouldn't have thought of putting myself in the same category as those folks. I remember listening to Amon Tobin when I'd first come to the United States, like in the early 2010s, and he had a really visual stage setup for his shows where he was in the center of like the top of the stage, and there was like all these mechanical things moving around him. He had a great show at the Greek Theatre, which must have been around 2012, probably 2013 time, which was really something. So it was like, wow, that's very humbling to be like put in the same category as him. But let's talk about genres for a second, because somebody in my comments said that lo-fi music is basically modern jazz. And let's be real, like I've been saying, lo-fi isn't really a genre. Like, standard lo-fi is basically 90s boom bap with a low-pass filter slapped on top, and then most producers probably throw on some jazz chords that they don't really understand, and then they package it out. Now, don't shoot the messenger, don't jump down my throat. I'm just trying to throw some concepts out there for us to think about. I'm not discrediting the roots of lo-fi or the roots of hip-hop. The genre exists because what happened? Legendary producers flipped some classic jazz records. They sampled some complex extended chords like major sevenths, ninths, major 11ths, and those kind of like geeky chords, and then laid them over some nice dusty hip-hop drums using, 12-bit samplers like the MPC 2500 I have over my left shoulder over there on the shelf. That jazz harmonic theory is really the DNA of lo-fi, and I respect that foundation because I think some of the most interesting music comes when a musician follows the rules of music theory, but then kind of breaks some of the rules and does something outside of the box. my point is that over the last, definitely the last 5 years, or well, I'd say definitely the last 5 years, a lot of lo-fi has stripped away everything that actually makes jazz challenging and compelling to listen to. Real jazz music is about improvisation. It's about building dynamic tension in the song, having call and responses between elements or different instrument groups, and having structural movement through a song. When you just have a track where the musician is just looping 4 bars for 2 minutes without a variation, that's not jazz, that's not lo-fi, that's just a static elevator music with some nice aesthetic sprinklings and some muffled drums. That's why, as Reflection, I lean really heavily into progressive melodic production. I want to take those fundamentals, the rich jazzy chord structure and chord progressions, and throw in something challenging. Switch up the time signature. Sacred was talking to me about that, like getting people out of their comfort zone, getting myself out of my comfort zone. Throwing on a synth texture, using some techno, EDM principles, LFOs, and modulation of the sound to actually give the song somewhere to go. Dynamic shifting, evolving lines in the leads. So there's actually some payoff for the listener. You're not just in a kind of plodding around, oh, I'm listening to lo-fi, this is like, okay, this is like a some kind of like a SSRI for my ears. We don't want to be just totally numbed out. I really think the lo-fi aesthetic, while it's still relaxed, can still be improved, and there's still room to contribute to the genre, while still respecting the kind of the hip-hop roots and the jazz musicianship that has inspired it. But I don't know, what do you think? That's just my take on it. There's is it a genre? Yes. Is there room to bend genres? Absolutely there is. So, you're listening to Reflection Radio. My name's Reflection. I get to stream to you folks every Tuesday and Thursday, and randomly between them as well. So that was Parsley. This is one of my favorite songs from the Herbs and Spices project. This is Basil. I love the bass line on this. I hope you enjoy it too. You're listening to Reflection Radio. Wow, bass. motherfuckers. You're listening to Reflection Radio. My name is Reflection. Streaming live from the Mojave Desert every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. We're live right now on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. I always forget Twitch for some reason. If you're not doing so already, please like and subscribe. And if you can share the stream, that would be huge. This is a pretty new channel. Streaming's new for me. I was sharing earlier this week how trying not to be a slave to the algorithm and just keep things authentic and real. I think that's the only way to really build a nice community for us all. Not trying to do any rage baiting or any clickbaiting or anything that's not authentic, and just build a safe, happy community of like-minded people who want to listen to some different music and have a safe place for us all to gather, chat and chit-chat and get to know each other. So that was Basil. I stumbled a bit. I get these brain farts, folks. I didn't always take the best care of my mind during my 20s and 30s, and sometimes my mind travels away with me. What I was getting at was, I've been looking at what's really successful on social media, and it seems like I'd have to really lower my integrity or sell myself out to get popping on social media, and also put a lot of work into it. And that conflicts with my values, because I don't want to contribute and spend loads of hours slaving over a screen to create content for a platform which I don't know the owners, they don't know me from Adam, and the channel could get shut down any second. So I'm kind of being moderate with the content I'm putting out there, and finding streaming helpful because we have that immediate engagement, and I can chat with Sacred and Mika, and we can chat throughout the week, as opposed to spending hours and hours editing a video that might not go anywhere. I was looking at some other channels, and some guys have great profiles with lots of followers, and some people have 100 or 200 views for the same content I might make quite easily. And I see they've done lots of editing, so the algorithm is really confusing to figure out. So I'm just taking it easy right now, learning the kind of the fundamentals of getting my camera nice, using the microphone, getting the audio good, and then maybe later on down the line I might start increasing the production value, but for now I'm just taking it easy. I wanted to keep it real. That's really important to me, and in such a fake world we live in today, where everything is superficial, trying to keep it authentic, keep it real authentic, as opposed to keeping it real fake. Speaking of keeping it authentic, somebody has to say it. These massive 3-day music festivals, they're not this magical cultural gathering that they used to be. They're just corporate cash grabs designed to get your $500 and then tap your pockets for some $22 a week drinks. Now, before I get accused of being a hater or being a broke boy or something like that, I'm not saying that large-scale production is worthless. Having those huge LED walls, a massive sound system, having 3 stages set up where I can go and see multiple major international headliners all in one weekend is an absolute rush, and I love that, and I'm looking forward to going to festivals in the next couple of weeks. And if there's a special energy about being in a crowd of 50,000 people when the drop hits, and I get why people chase that. I chase that too. But what frustrates me is how these events have become more and more corporate, with the organizers basically exploiting the roots of electronic music. A few years ago, it was all about plur, it was all about peace, love, unity, and respect. And the spirit was, all like-minded folks, we're going to get together in a place, play and enjoy some different sounds together, so that we can turn a genuine human connection into something real. Not turning that into a monetized brand and seeing musicians and people who love music like you and me into dollar signs, or just like we're just a cell in an Excel spreadsheet somewhere. And it's amazing how fast the corporate greed takes over. So since the early 2010s, I've been going to festivals pretty regularly. And one of the big festivals I always go to in summer, I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to throw any shade on them, but they used to throw free shuttles, because parking is always crazy when you're trying to schedule like 100,000 people in the middle of LA. In 2021, they had a free shuttle. You could park your car at this shopping mall. It's closed for the event. We would all jump in a school bus and it would take us to the venue safely. Now, every day they want to charge an extra $55 just for the shuttle pass. Like, dude, that's not about the fan experience. It's not about safety. That's not about community anymore. You're optimizing it purely for your corporate profit margin. And also they're trying to take advantage of this influencer aesthetic as well. People trying to clout chase and get the Instagram picture. So you spend half your day walking through a dusty field. You spend $55 just to get to the front gate. You wait about an hour to get to a porta potty, and then you go on. You wait in the crowd if you can see the artist you want to play. And the guy's up there and he just presses play on a pair of CDJs and he's playing a rendered set of 45 minutes that's already been mixed, and you're watching it from 200 yards away while everybody else is holding up their phone. Now compare that to a more grassroots movement, something like Respect at Jungle on Thursday nights, where I went a couple of weeks ago. Compare it to what Blind Tiger are doing with the after hours events, what Utopia are doing down in downtown, and other like real music events that's like made by people who are in the scene and actually love the music. You walk into a dark room with a punchy sound system, and there's like a tight community of heads who are there actually to dance, and regular resident DJs, not just the in guy that season, who are happy to take risks in a small room because they're not bound by some corporate contract. They're pretty free and independent, and there's a big strength to that. When you're at a small venue, you're not just paying for a wristband. You're part of a living room where real culture gets incubated week after week after week. And I've noticed kind of the club scene is really slowly dying. I don't know if it's because Gen Zs and Zoomers or Zillennials or Gen Alpha are changing the way that they integrate and socialize, but if we lose local club nights and weekly underground music scenes because everybody's saving their money just to go and get price gouged at a mega music festival, the culture is going to lose its heartbeat, and there's not going to be any innovation from there if everybody's just chasing money. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're not doing so already, try and support your local weekly sound systems. Don't let the mega promoters trick you into thinking that a scene only exists within a corporate festival venue, as fun as they are. So you're listening to Reflection Radio. Next up, this is Cardamom from the upcoming project Herbs and Spices. You're listening to Reflection Radio. You're listening to Reflection Radio. That was Cardamom from the upcoming project Herbs and Spices, which is going to be on all streaming platforms next Friday. Going to be a 21-track album coming out. Every track is a different herb or a spice that I use or cook with, or would like to use or cook with. Going to be nice for you guys to see the album art. All the album arts for the Herbs and Spices singles and albums are actually photographs from real markets selling herbs and spices around the world. So it's a real privilege to bring those to you. So that'll be on all streaming platforms starting next week. Herbs and Spices by Reflection. I have a link in the Instagram live video if you want to click on that. I appreciate any listens or any feedback. This is my first release, and it's a huge privilege, and I'm very grateful to be able to just share my process and to be a part of making the music. Doing it has been very therapeutic for me, and challenging and a lot of fun as well. So speaking of streaming services, if somebody has to say it, streaming services are a rip-off. Not just for musicians, but also for listeners as well. Now, don't cancel your subscription just yet. Just hear me out. I'm not ignoring the convenience. Being able to have 50 million tracks on my phone in the app is absolutely insane. And it's great to be able to find new genres and pull up any track instantly if I get nostalgic and want to listen to, I don't know, some old Eminem record from 1998. And it's great also to be able to share links with friends. Like, I love being able to share my music with everybody. Clearly, the convenience is absolutely why streaming is won. But what pisses me off is this. What we lost in exchange for that convenience that some people don't even know about. The economics of it became absolutely inverted and backwards. Back in my day, I'm an 80s baby, I grew up in the 90s. You'd pay about $15 for a physical CD. If you weren't buying a CD, you could buy the cassette tape or even the vinyl record. And what you got was pristine, uncompressed audio. You got the case for the record or the music you're listening to. And you also got high resolution album art and an entire liner full of notes and interesting stuff. And when I was younger, and even today, there isn't much I love doing more than listening to a record and then flipping through the booklet. I remember I was listening to must have been, what year was this? Man, 96, 97. I had bought an album by an artist called the Fugees. They had an album called The Score, which was a big album that summer. And back in the day, the hip-hop records, they always had an acknowledgement section where every artist in the band would write down the people they were giving thanks to, almost like they were giving a speech and award ceremony. And it was really interesting for me, being 12 years old then. Who is this person they're talking about? Who is this person? Who is that person? It would actually expand my horizons and expose myself to new artists and new people in music that I hadn't heard of before. You'd learn about who wrote the song, who played the instruments, who produced each song, where the drums were mastered and things like that. And another thing that's kind of lost now, when you would listen to an audio CD that was made professionally, every now and then you'd get a bonus track. Like the last track on the album would be 20 minutes long, and it would be the start of the track would be the song, and then there'd be a long silence. So if you left the song playing, suddenly a new song would kick in. I think there was a Jay-Z album that did that, the one with the platinum cover. I think it was Volume 3. There were lots of gems and Easter eggs and things like that that made buying an album literally feel like an event. And then digital downloads came along, and somehow the platform started charging more money to you and me for a compressed low audio MP3 file where we got no artwork, no liner notes, no context, just a file. And with streaming, you don't even get the file anymore. We've basically been stripped of all this rich history, all the credits and the storytelling behind how the art was made. We're basically renting a digital library, and it can disappear tomorrow if a licensing contract expires or changes. We've basically had an unwritten social contract to trade away that physical ownership, that high quality audio and that deep musical context for a temporary rental pass. And to make it worse, it pays artists just a fraction of a penny compared to what they used to make. So don't get me wrong, streaming is great for discovery, but if you actually love an album or you really love a creator and what they're doing, buy the physical copy or support them on Bandcamp or go to their personal website. Hold on to the art, and the context actually gives the music its meaning, because that carries so much along with it. A lot of thought and time has gone into that, and it's a real shame that legacy is kind of being denied to a lot of people who might not know otherwise. You're listening to Reflection Radio. My name's Reflection. Up next, this is Rosewater from Herbs and Spices. You're listening to Reflection Radio. That was Rosewater from my album Herbs and Spices. It's going to be on all digital streaming platforms next Friday. And making some hot takes today on the stream. Felt like I had to get some stuff off my chest and throw something interesting out there. Not that the music isn't interesting enough, but some of this stuff, somebody has to say it. And we've been talking about music streaming, and from researching like what's happening with the social media platforms, because I've been out of the loop for a couple of years and haven't really studied them very closely. By the way, definitely had some Myconites on deck. These are the original fruits one. I really like Myconites. I like jelly beans basically, but they're called Myconites. Delicious. Music streaming. So what I've learned is people's attention spans, or the platforms are trying to push people into having a 15-second attention span. And have you noticed that this has killed one of the greatest parts of listening to an album, which is skits, the jokes, and the interludes? Now, before you tell me that the skits were just filler, hear me out first. I get why people probably want to skip skits and interludes on an album occasionally, especially if you're listening to music to work out or if you're driving in the car. You don't want there to be a 2-minute comedy routine interrupting your music, right? Yeah, there were some really awkward skits back in the day that I can recall, and some that were very unfunny as well, and some that were probably inappropriate for everybody's ears. You wouldn't want all audiences to hear that. That's the reason why we had the skip button, right? The skip button exists for a reason. But what we lost through that was a couple of things. The personality of the artist, the concept of world building and having a real human connection. Growing up in the United Kingdom, I didn't know much about life in the United States, whether it was the East Coast or the West Coast, but I heard a lot about it culturally through music, like a lot of people do internationally. Now, it wasn't all right, coming to Los Angeles is not like Fast and Furious, but some parts of it are just a little bit. So by stripping those skits away from albums, that context is missed for listeners. I'm thinking about classic 90s and 2000 albums from hip-hop, alternative music, electronic music. Those records had some ridiculous interludes, things like voicemail messages, screw-ups inside the studio, B-reel, and B-roll. B-reel? Not the Cypress Hill guy, like blunders. You remember, like you used to watch a film, and at the end there'd be all like where the characters were fumbling, and sometimes those were more funny than the actual film. These skits and things give art character. It gives the album's character. It gives film's character, and they showed you the human being, the vulnerability behind the music. It wasn't placed on this pedestal of, wow, this person is a celebrity. No, they're human just like us, and they screw up and make mistakes. By cutting all of that out, artists lost their individuality, and they lost their vulnerability to just have fun and be a goofball. And the reason is because of streaming algorithms and the system of pay per stream payouts. artists are basically terrified to put out a skit or a funny interlude on the project because they're worried how it could be perceived. And if listeners skip a skit on a streaming platform, the algorithm flags the album as having low engagement and then penalizes the whole release. So it's a dangerous, risky strategy right now. So everybody plays it safe. They sanitize their projects, they sanitize their releases, strip out any humor, take out any studio banter or anything that's weird or conceptual, just to keep the stream completion stats high. So, in my opinion, a lot of the personality, a lot of the humor, a lot of the world building has been traded away for an algorithm, and that's a real shame. So I think there's a time and place to bring back weird skits, bring back studio jokes, let albums have the vulnerability to be fun again. And that's something I missed actually in Herbs and Spices. I should have thrown in some skits. So the next album, which is going to be called Ice Cream, or Ice Creams, every track is going to be a different ice cream flavor. I want to make sure there's a good amount of skits in there just to keep things interesting. Alright folks, I'm going to leave things there. Thank you for letting me stream. It's been a great stream. We got to listen to tarragon, barberry, parsley, basil, cardamom and rosewater. If you combine those herbs and spices together, you definitely make a very flagrant dish, and this stream probably didn't come close to how fragrant those herbs and spices are, but I gave it my best. We had some hot takes, and it was always a pleasure and a privilege to share my process with everybody. Big shout out to Mika, and huge shout out to Sacred Geometry. Love you folks very, very much. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I'm going to sign out for today. I'll be back on Thursday at 6 p.m. probably with some more hot takes and some more music for us all. And actually keep an eye on my Spotify, because I have a new release coming out on the 24th of July, which is this Friday, which is Chamomile. So to end the stream, let's close on Chamomile, and then I'll end the stream there. So this is Chamomile, or Chamomile. I'm going to be going live on all streaming platforms this Friday, the 24th of July. You're listening to Reflection Radio. Thank you for watching and listening. Reflection Radio every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific.